Hello, everybody. Is it going? Yes, it is. Okay. This is Dr. Hess here from pdmom.com. Hi, how is everybody? So today, or tonight actually, since it's 9 p.m. by me, I'm in Florida. Tonight I'm going to talk a bit about abbreviations, text and app abbreviations, some of the more some of the more common abbreviations that teens use. So this was a interesting project that I did. There are hundreds and hundreds of teen text abbreviations that they use, and it's mind-boggling if you try to understand and know what they all mean. So for those of you that are around my age, I'm not going to say how old I am, but we did not grow up with this stuff. So to us, a lot of the communication that our kids are having with each other is all new. So not only is the technology new, but the language, the lingo, the slang, the abbreviations, however you want to put it, is all very, very new to us. So it's sort of exhausting and seems very insurmountable to try to learn it all. So what I'm going to do tonight is by no means talk about all of the text's abbreviations, but kind of just go over some of the more worrisome ones and some of the ones that you'll see a little bit more often. There are certain places that do compile data on this and look at the more common abbreviations that are used by kids, but it is by all means changing constantly. So we're going to go over some of them. I'm going to write them down on this little board. We'll see how that works because I've never done that on a video before. But no need to remember them. At some point when the website comes up, which is going to be very, very soon, we will have some information on there with a whole list of all of this stuff and more, and tons more. So some of the things that I'm going to touch on today, I'm going to break down the text abbreviations sort of into groups because otherwise it's not really understandable. So you got to break it down into little chunks. So I'm going to break it down into abbreviations that are related more to parents and who's in the room and who's watching and secretive type stuff. Then I'm going to talk about some that are related to meeting up, meeting friends, meeting strangers, that kind of stuff. I'm going to do abbreviations that are related to sex, which is kind of terrifying how sneaky some of these texts are. And then I'm going to do a little bit on some abbreviations that are more related to bullying, both so that you can recognize them as if your child is sending that out to other people or if they're the ones that are receiving these texts. So because there is so many, I am going to have to look at my cheat sheet because there's just too many to remember and to be able to do them in a fashion that's kind of understandable. So some that are related to parents. So these are parent ones. Is that readable on there? A little bit. These are all my 7-year-old's markers, and this is her board. I don't know if you can see back there, but that's the game MASH that a lot of us used to play when we were younger. That's what's on there back there. So I might have to switch through some of these to make sure that they all work. So these are related to parents. So some of the more common ones that you can see if they're texting or even, and this goes for app usage, online usage, chatting, that kind of thing. So some of them are this: parents are watching. And a lot of them are kind of based off of this, but just changing a little bit, like parent over shoulder, POS. Someone over shoulder is another one. And parent in room. Parent in room. So a lot of times when the teens are talking and texting, if they happen to be talking about something that you might not want to see or they might not want you to see, if you're in the room, they'll text this to each other so that they know to be a little bit more careful in their talking. And they do that because they want to do this, keeping parents clueless. So they'll put that on a lot of them too, just kind of as a hint that they don't want their parents to know about that stuff. One of the other ones that I did all those ones. Parents are listening is another one. that's one of these. So these are all related to you watching and to them not wanting you to watch their texts or their communications. Mom over shoulder, dad over shoulder is another one. And then these are the scary, scary ones, because not that we would know what these say if we were looking at our kid's phone, but you could try to figure it out. But some of the ones that are even more scary are the ones that really are completely made up, and it's amazing that so many kids learn that this is what it means, and we are so clueless. Like one of them is 9, or a similar one is CD9, and that one is a code 9, or your parents are nearby. So all those other ones, I feel like if we really tried hard, we could decipher them if we really tried, but this, how are we supposed to know that? Another one is 99. I'm kind of wondering why they picked the 9, so I'll have to look into that. 99 are parents are gone, which is sort of a terrifying one. And then P999 is parent alert. So a lot of 9s, code 9, all that stuff is related to you either being in the room. Oh, you can see it. Thanks, Lee, for letting me know. I'll try and see if I can get a darker one for the next one. The P999 parent alert can mean anything from they're in the room, or they are watching my texts or my emails or my app stuff, so be careful what you say. It means a whole host of things. But the amazing thing about a lot of these is that if you ask most teens if they know what they mean, and even preteens too, a lot of them definitely will know this. So those are the most common ones with respect to parents. Now, some of these next ones, scarier than others, but these are all related to meeting up. And that goes for meeting up with friends, and also with meeting up with whoever they happen to be talking to or getting to know online. So, oh my goodness, where the party at is a big one. WTPA is where's the party at, if they don't want to actually say the word party, and then they end up coming to you and saying, hey, I'm meeting my friend so-and-so out for ice cream or whatever, and in the meantime they've texted this and they're going to a party. So that's one of the scarier ones. This is sort of terrifying. WYRN, what's your real name? That is a tip-off that they might be in an app where they're using a different name, or even texting with somebody that they met on an app or met online and gave their cell phone number and they're texting. Just as an example, I have for the website, one of the sections is called Parent Speak, and that's where parents are writing in about dangerous situations that their kids have been involved in. And I did receive a letter about a teenage girl who was adequately educated about the risks and dangers of being online, talking to people that you don't know, and all of the right precautions were taken. They put all of the right blocks on the computer. They thought they educated them, or they didn't think they did educate them. And after all was said and done, the teenage girl actually made up a complete different identity online and kind of figured out a way to get behind all of those blocks. And so even though she was using her fake name, the person that she was talking to actually realized that she was using her fake name, and eventually was trying to convince her to give the real name. So if you see this on there, that means that they're probably talking to somebody under a fake name, and they're probably getting a little bit too close for comfort if they're starting to talk like that. Another one, RU/18. So that's one that some child predators and people that are grooming kids will throw out there to check to see if they're 18. Sometimes it's to be sure that they are 18 because they don't want to get in trouble. And sometimes, unfortunately, it's to check to see if they're not 18 because that's what they prefer. So that might be a scary one, because if they're talking to friends, and people that they know in real life, they're not going to be asking them this question on text or on apps or online. Speaking of real life, another one is LMI, let's meet in real life. LMIRL, let's meet in real life, or just in real life. Those are common ones too. If you see that, anything that pertains to real life means that they haven't met them, or they've met them only in chat rooms or online. Those are very scary texts to see. ADN, any day now, when they're, especially if they're talking about meeting up, and sometimes they'll kind of talk about how excited they are to meet this person, and any day now would be something that like they're looking forward to that. Let me erase these. Where's my eraser? F2F. These were ones that I did not know. F2F or FTF, face-to-face. So yet another kind of trigger text to say that they haven't been, they haven't already met in real life. So that is super concerning. Keep an eye out for these ones, because that means that they might be contacting these particular people in other areas online or other apps, that kind of thing, and are now texting on their regular phone, meaning that they gave out their cell phone. So very big deal. If you see somebody asking for an ADR, that is for an address. ADR is when they're asking for their address. And then another one of those really crazy secretive ones that nobody would have ever thought, but somehow all kids know what it means, is 1174, and that's essentially meet for a party or meet for any other reason. If you look across the board, it tends to mean a little bit more with respect to meeting for parties with friends, and less so with meeting with people that they are just meeting, I'm just getting to know online, but it can be for any of the above. All right. Super, super scary ones now are the ones that are related to sex. These are very high-risk texts. If you look in a lot of places, they'll start, and I'll do this on the website as well, I'll not only break it down by topics and kind of what it's more related to, like I'm doing now with respect to parents and meeting and sex and bullying, and then the last one, drugs. But they're also usually broken down into lower risk text abbreviations, moderate risk, and high risk. Most of the ones that are related to sex are obviously high risk. So there's tons of these. And if you see these, talk to your kids. I will go into more depth about talking to your kids about this stuff in a different one, in a different video. This is just purely to kind of get you to start recognizing how very many abbreviations there are and how very secretive kids can be, even knowing the risks of talking to people online. So some of the ones related to sex, want to trade pictures, WTTP. If somebody's asking if they want to trade pictures, that's a problem. Friends just trade pictures. Friends send pictures, selfies, all that stuff back and forth to each other. Even people are dating, they send pictures. Usually you're not really asking to trade a picture. Like, I'll give you one if you give me one. And that's a super huge concern. This one is big. This is a huge one for predators and people who are grooming kids online. Get naked on camera. Unfortunately, ones like this can come up quite quick in later videos and on the website and all of that. I'll be showing you guys some very scary situations where I signed up on different apps as a young girl, and how quickly things like this can kind of pop up, asking people to get naked on camera or to trade pictures, that kind of thing. Super, super worrisome. A friend is not going to get them to do this. One that I'm not going to write down, Netflix and chill. A lot of people have heard of this. Kids will say it all the time on texting, do you want to get Netflix and chill? Or I'm having Netflix and chilling with so-and-so. Usually to a teen, that means that they're getting together to have sex. FYEO, for your eyes only, obviously usually pertaining to something that's a little bit more suggestive that they wouldn't want to get out. And to just backtrack a little bit, the reason why it's so important, in addition to the obvious reasons of worrying about the fact that your kids are talking to people like this, or might be getting themselves in trouble with people that they don't know, or predators, grooming, that kind of thing. It's also a significant issue with leading to embarrassment, bullying. These pictures and texts can often be they screenshot them, send them out to the school. It's kind of goes along into sextortion, which, in case you guys haven't heard of it, is when you're sexting or sending pictures, and then somebody says, okay, if you don't send me additional pictures, or if you don't meet me, or if you don't do this, I'm going to send these naked pictures of you out to everybody. And that kind of keeps the teen going and all this stuff. So that's another reason why it's such a big deal to recognize these types of texts, so that you can catch it early and talk to your kids. So some of the other ones one of the ones that goes along with get naked in front of camera is nude in front of camera. That's another one that you'll see requests from predators and groomers online. Teens will often put this, IWSN, I want sex now. And then another big one is FWB. Most people will know what friends with benefits are. We just might not know that that's the abbreviation for it. ASL is a huge one for kids who have met people online. That is age, sex, and location. So that is another tip-off that this person does not know your child, because if they did, they would know how old they are, they would know whether they are male or female, and they would also know at least around about where they live. So that's a huge one. An interesting one for this one is interesting because it shows how the kids can not only make up these types of acronyms and abbreviations, but they can also just kind of switch letters to make it look like a word instead of making something completely different. So this one, 5-3-X, that's sex. So if you see that, LH6, LH, let's have, and 6 sounds close to sex, so that's getting a little tongue-tied. Let's have sex, that one. And then another one that is very similar is C, that one's not too low, is it? CUF6, CU for sex. So when 6 is in there, or X, a lot of times that's referring to sex. 121, which is a really interesting one some of these are so interesting that they stick. 121, let's talk in the PM at night, usually referring to after your parents go to bed. And then S2R, send to receive, and that is usually referring to you send me a picture and I'll send you a picture. So again, another common one that goes along with groomers that are looking for underage kids to send them suggestive, inappropriate, or even nude photos. Sugar pic. Sugar pic is a term that is used to refer to sexually explicit photos. So if you see people referring to sugar pic in their text, that's usually at some point, even if the picture isn't there, they are talking about a sexually explicit, inappropriate photo. And then A3. Sorry, that was a terrible A. A3 is one that you'll see not only with respect to sex, but will sometimes be in the more I want to meet you kind of category, and that's anytime, anywhere, any place. Which kind of just says, I'm up for anything, let me know. So those are the most common sex ones. I'm going to do bullying, and then ones that are related to drugs. And then those are the only categories that I'm going to do right now. And still just the most common ones, because honestly, these could go on and on for days. There are hundreds and hundreds. And again, I will have them all out in a list. So not to worry. And then at the end, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about why it's so important. So related to bullying, This is a huge, huge deal because bullying is pretty popular, not popular as in it's happening a lot, although it is, but it's kind of a popular topic for parents to be talking to their kids about, a popular topic in schools and in the media. And so that's not stopping the kids from doing it, but it is causing them to be a little bit more careful in the way that they bully people, other peers. And so a lot of the terms that they will use, instead of saying it outright, they will do it in abbreviations, so that if somebody is looking, they might not know what it means. And then also there's a bit of an argument if somebody says, oh, they're bullying me, they can say, that's not what I meant by that text. So these abbreviations are super important to look out for too. Two of the most important ones are KMS and KYS. So KMS is kill myself and KYS is kill yourself. Do not take it lightly if you see your kid writing KMS in texting. Now, obviously you have to take it in context. And so if a kid is saying, you know, they fell down in the hallway at school and they were so embarrassed that they wanted to kill themselves, that is completely different than saying it in terms of a breakup with a boyfriend or girlfriend, or being bullied or harassed or anything. But never, 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 if you see this, don't take it for granted that it's a joke, or that it's related to something not serious. Talk to your kid about it. Kill yourself should never, never, never be okay. I'm sure you guys know that. But a huge portion of the younger kids that are committing suicide right now, and the number is rapidly, rapidly increasing. It's an awful situation right now, and a lot of them the family will tell you that after looking at their phones that they've seen lots of texts from peers telling them that they should just kill themselves. So take those two very, very seriously if you see them. 182 is I hate you. Obviously not okay, but the fact that can you even see that's 8 and not an S? Sorry. I'm sorry if these things aren't showing up so well. That's what you get when you use your 7-year-old daughter's stuff. 182 is I hate you, and GAL, get a life. All of these referring to bullying. THOT, can you see that? Yes. That whore over there, that is unfortunately a very common text that you'll see in bullying. And then Zerg, Z-E-R-G, and that is a term that is used in texting when you are planning on ganging up on somebody, jumping somebody, or even just getting a group of people together to harass or bully somebody. Those are the most common, but by no means an exhaustive list of bullying abbreviations. Now, scary, scary, scary is the drug stuff. I'm only going to write down some of them, the ones that are a little bit more confusing and don't really make much sense, but a lot of the ones that I'm going to tell you right now are terms related to drugs, and terms that to a parent who might not know much about texting or kids' communication, or drugs for that matter, they might see some of these terms and have absolutely no idea that their kid is talking about drugs, and a lot of these seem like innocent words that they could be talking about almost anything. Clouds is a big one. That's referred to vaping usually, but can be related to smoking of other substances, but it is usually talking about vaping. Dabbing. So dabbing is that dance that everybody's doing, you know, the dab. My daughter does it all the time. So absolutely, it is something that you can see them texting about all the time. You see memes about it. You have the little, all sorts of pictures everywhere on shirts, everything about dabbing. But dabbing is also a term that is referred to a very highly concentrated drug, usually marijuana, but it can pertain to other drugs too. So it's just meaning that it's a highly concentrated one. So if you see that, look at the context that they're talking about it in, and that'll kind of help you weed it out a little bit. 420 if one of your kids is talking about 420, they are talking about marijuana. They are texting about maybe getting marijuana or getting ready to go out and smoke marijuana. Pods, PODS, usually if they're writing that, they're talking about vaping or also the little cartridges that you can put into the Juul, the JUUL, the new electronic smoking device that a lot of teens are now using, which I will also go into length about in another video and also on the website. Some other ones that you may have heard of before, but I'm going to say them anyway. Blow is cocaine. Pearls is usually used to refer to a blunt or marijuana, smoking marijuana. Bud, also marijuana, and tree. That was one that if you kind of look out and about there, most people have no idea, and the kids will sometimes use it in the context that makes it look a little bit more innocent. But if you see something pertaining to looking for tree or looking for a tree, and it's not really making much sense that your kid would ask for that, they're usually asking to see where they might be able to get some marijuana. DOC is drug of choice. Yayo is one that I hadn't seen before, and that refers to cocaine. YAYO, that is a cocaine acronym. Baseball, crack cocaine, and Skrill is money. So if you're seeing your kid talk, I mean, that might seem like a very innocent one, having something that's referring to money. But if you're seeing your kid talking back and forth with other kids about how they're owed money or they owe somebody else money, kind of look into why that might be. CID is a term for acid. E is for ecstasy. Hazel, as in the color hazel, is used to refer to heroin, which is a huge, huge issue in our teens right now. Across the board, has no kind of across all socioeconomic areas, all location, everywhere. It's a huge, huge issue with kids and teens, unfortunately. Blue boogers is another interesting one that most parents would kind of be like, oh, my kid's talking about blue boogers, ha, ha, ha. And usually that's actually referring to snorting Adderall or Ritalin, which is a very big problem, Adderall and Ritalin, with abuse in teens, because it's so commonly prescribed right now for ADHD. So they buy it from other kids who aren't using their own medications. They save their own to then either sell or use larger amounts. So Ritalin and Adderall are a very big drug of abuse right now for kids. Farming. Farming is a term, and that's farming not like as in a farm, it's PHARMING. And if you see them talking about that, that is referring to them going through the medicine cabinets in the house and looking for various drugs to either abuse themselves or to give, to sell, that kind of thing. There is a thing now where kids are a thing now. That makes me sound so old. Old people used to say that. That was a thing then. Where kids are going to parties and essentially just taking any medication that they found either at their house, at their grandparents' house, at friends' houses, whatever, throwing it all in a big bowl. They pass the bowl around and you pick one and you get what you get. Now, obviously, that's hugely dangerous because you have no idea what you're taking. So something to talk about with your kids too, in addition to all of this stuff. POX, P-O-X, is referring to opium. Tweaking is meth, which is very, not that it's not everywhere, but very location dependent. There's lots of areas that are, that kind of have a lot more meth than other areas. White lady is cocaine or heroin. Wings, also cocaine or heroin. Let's see what other important ones. We are coming to an end on these. Perks, Percocet, Captain Cody, Cody or schoolboy. Those all refer to using codeine and Robitussin to get high. Doors and fours, and pancakes and syrup. which is really hard to kind of tease out of a text. But doors and fours, pancakes and syrup, if they don't seem like they're fitting into the conversation, they may actually be talking about codeine and a sedative mixed together, using to get high. What else? Vikes, Lorries, Watson, and 357s are all referring to Vicodin or Lortab, both of which are prescribed pain medications. A lot is out there. What else? Oh, one that I hadn't heard of, China Girl, Chinatown, Tango, or Cash. All of those can be terms used to describe fentanyl, which is also a pain medication. And it comes in many forms, even in patches. So sometimes you can see them using the patches. But all of these terms essentially are just kind of triggers in your mind. If you see it, if you see these terms and you're looking at your kid's text and it's really not fitting in and making sense, think about this talk. Think about what they could be referring to. Black Beauty, truck drivers, and wake ups are usually all referring to Adderall. Another one referring to Adderall because again, it's a very, very big one. So those are all of the drug ones. So let me also just really quickly, because I'm kind of done with all of this stuff, and again, I'll have it in more detail kind of written out when the website comes up, which is going to be super soon. But I do want to encourage you to talk to your kids about this kind of stuff and about sending not only explicit and suggestive texts like sexting, but especially with photos, because it is considered child pornography, even if they send a photo of themselves naked to somebody else and they are underage, they themselves can be charged with distributing child pornography. There has been situations where kids have been put on the registered sex offender list for similar things. I am kind of working a bit with a wonderful woman who is creating an app to try and help block this kind of stuff going in and going out of your kids' phones. And some of the information that I'm kind of talking with her about and getting from her and her research is mind-boggling, how these things can not only affect our kids in the now, meaning when they're seeing these photos or getting these photos or being harassed or being groomed, all of those types of things, obviously that's going to affect them in the now. But these things are way bigger than that. These things can affect them forever. They can, if this comes out and they have charges against them from somebody else, either harassment or distributing inappropriate content, child pornography, that kind of stuff, this can affect them getting into college. It can affect them getting jobs. It can affect them legally, obviously emotionally, mentally, psychologically, all that stuff as well. But this is the kind of stuff that it can affect them in so many more ways than they can even comprehend, and even more so, like even more than what most of us parents can comprehend. Until I started diving a little bit deeper in this, I mean, I'm a pediatrician, I work in a pediatric ER, and so I do actually hear and see a lot with respect to this kind of stuff. But even with what I knew, until I started to dive really deep into this stuff to do this website, I didn't have any idea of the severity of what was happening and the severity of what could happen to these kids and their families and the rest of their lives, the long-term effects of all of this. And that's just from their participation in it. The effects of outside people kind of trying to target them and groom them and all that stuff is a whole nother ballgame as well. So we need to address it with our kids from multiple angles. And I will definitely be going into a ton of that as time goes on, not only from me, but with lots of help from a lot of other experts who do this for a living. And that we have lots and lots to learn, so much to learn. It seems insurmountable, but it is not, because when we do it together and we come up with a plan together and we learn together, then we can be more successful at it. So, okay, so that is it for this particular video. Make sure you're commenting. I say this every time, I know, but this totally helps me. Comment, tell me what you like, tell me what you need, tell me any ideas that you have, tell me of situations that came up, so that the more things that are kind of coming up on a daily basis for you guys and just in general, the more I'm going to want to cover that stuff, since it's kind of real life right now. The website's going to be coming super soon, hopefully in the next week or two. I have awesome, awesome stories from parents, from physicians, from kids themselves. So if you guys know any parents or kids that want to write in, they can remain anonymous. Any of my physician friends out there that want to jump in and do something on a child safety topic, that'd be fabulous. I'm going to be coming up with a lot more stuff about sexting, sextortion, grooming, online grooming, all of that stuff. That stuff's going to be coming really, really soon, and is probably going to be some of the first stuff on the website, because it's so, so important, and it's such a horrible thing that's happening right now. So I want to make sure that we start touching on that as soon as possible. So like, share, comment on all of this stuff, all of my PD Mom tips, safety tips of the day, share all that stuff, because the more people that see it, comment, and like it, the more people it reaches, which means the more that I can do. Also, if you have any ideas of things that you want first and foremost on the website with respect to child safety, let me know, because it's going to be kind of a long-term ongoing thing where I'm going to be taking contributions, so I can concentrate on the stuff that you guys want to see first, and then add everything else as it comes. All right. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Hi, thank you guys all for coming and joining me. I will talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful night. Sweet dreams. Good night. Mwah.